Well, hello, boys and girls. It's when we feel like at o'clock again, and I'm here with Ranj.
How you guys doing?
Copper's comparison again. I hope you've been checking out his soccer videos, like we've been saying. There, he's got the Nicaraguan League and Belarus, right? Are you?
Yep,
Are you?
yep.
Then there, we heard some good news that North Korea is going to be, or South Korea is
South
going.
South Korea. There's a big difference there.
Yeah, I don't think we'd be able to watch the North Korean League. They keep us away from all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we did what did we do last time? Rangers, right? And we
No,
did
we did the
Edmonton Oilers.
Oilers. We did the
That's right. We
Oilers.
did the Edmonton Oilers. So go check that out. We had 37 people watch. I know there's more people watching because I see that everybody's watching Ranj now. See, we got all these new people coming up, and everybody doesn't like me anymore. That's all right.
Yeah,
It doesn't hurt.
it'll pick up. It'll pick up.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt me at all.
Edmonton doesn't have a lot of fans.
Edmonton does have lots of fans.
This one will get a lot more views.
Oilers fans don't like me too much because I talk shit about my own team for 10 years. They really don't like me. And I was right. The whole time I was correct. I was like, no, they're going to suck. They're going to suck. No, you're so negative. I'm so correct. That's the problem. I hate being correct because I love the Oilers, but they suck for a decade. But now we're talking about, what are we going to talk about? One of the finest teams in the land here now, aren't we? Boston Bruins.
Yes.
I am a closet. I don't want to call it closet. How could you not like the Boston Bruins? They had such a great history, such great players. Bobby Orr. I mean, geez, just lots of great players there. Lucic, when he was a hockey player, that was awesome when they had him there. But we're going to talk about their projection for the future. When I went into it, I thought there wasn't going to be much to talk about. But I've seen otherwise, actually. There is shitloads to talk about with this team.
Yeah. First of all, how much money did you say they have left on there to play with? Figured out.
They said it looks like something like $15 million for next year. What do they got? It's actually projected cap. It says $22 million here.
No, really?
Yeah. Okay, Torrey Krug comes off $5 million. Chara's $7 million. Grzelcyk 8, 9, 10. Yeah, maybe. You got a whole bunch of guys that. And then you add in the $4 million that they expect for the cap to go up.
Okay.
So yeah. So they got lots. They got lots.
All right. Let's see. They don't. And let's start out with forwards. Okay. We'll go right down the list with people that are expiring in 2020. Okay. We have Jake DeBrusk.
Yeah.
Canadian, 23 years old. He's not even making $1 million.
Yeah. He was on his entry-level contract. For people who don't know, when a player comes into the league, he is only allowed to sign an entry-level contract. It's not like basketball where you can just – I think it's basketball where you can just give them shitloads of money right out of college and stuff like that.
Yeah, out of high school, if you're good enough.
Yeah.
You can skip college. You go straight through.
Yeah, see, and here they get drafted when they're 18 years old. And they work out a system that helps the league that for the first 3 years, they all make the same amount of money.
Is that blanket, even like foreigners, like that Capo Caco?
Capo Caco, yeah. If he gets drafted and he's only 18, it doesn't matter. Now, if you're like 24 or over, then you can sign him to whatever contract if they haven't been drafted and stuff like that from any league or whatever. But now there's a little more to that. It depends on where you're drafted. If you're drafted in the 3rd and 4th round, it's a little less, like 800, 750,000. But if you're a first round pick or higher, it's like 925, which is what he was getting, right? Or 863.
He's at 863.
863. And there is some variances you can do based on performance bonuses and all that kind of stuff like that. If he has more performance bonuses, it can be a little less of a salary or whatever. You can work it.
So what do you think they're going to re-sign him?
Absolutely. They have all the leverage with him. I don't think anybody's going to give him an offer
Yeah, you
sheet.
can get them cheap.
Uh, It would
How,
be a
how, how
sorry.
about we'll
I
move
think
on.
I don't think it's going to be cheap. I think it's going to be about three and a half million.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. He's about a 40, 50 point guy shown already. I think he'll be about 3 million somewhere around there that they'll have to sign him up for. Uh, they could try to go less, but you don't want to piss the guy off too much because you want to be able to re-sign him again. It's always a balance.
Uh, okay. How about this Joachim Nordstrom?
Joachim Nordstrom is a fourth line solid. Like obviously he's European. I do believe is he from German? No,
I
no,
think
he's
that's the Swedish flag.
Swedish. He's Swedish. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, a million maybe probably doesn't get more than a million that he already got. He's just that type of player. He's a fourth line solid player. So
Okay.
they usually get around a million.
Then the last guy on the as a forward is Anders Bjork.
Anders Bjork is going to be interesting because he's bounced up and down in the minors. He hasn't really found his niche on this team. It's possible that what they do is they don't give you a qualifying offer if you're a restricted free agent. A restricted free agent means that nobody can sign you but the team
Right.
that is
If
there.
you're a
Right?
UFA though, that's when you're free
Anyone can sign.
gigs.
Yeah, you don't become a UFA until you're 27, generally speaking.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, they may offer Anders Bjork say league minimum, which is less than he's making now. And if he wants to take it, fine. If not, they'll say, okay, you now if they say we're not offering you an offer sheet, then he becomes a UFA. So Anders Bjork can become a UFA and go sign with any other team. I think that's likely what's going to happen here. I just don't think Anders Bjork has really made enough of a name for himself in the time he's been there for them to waste cap space on him.
Right. Aside from those guys, those three that I just mentioned there, everybody else is good right through, well, till 2021.
Yeah, they got a lot of stuff coming up there, don't they?
But I noticed this, the David Krejci, is that his name?
Krejci, yeah.
He's making more than Brad Marchand, than Patrice Bergeron, than David Pastrnak.
Yeah.
He's making more than all those guys.
I'm glad you brought those.
He's unrestricted free agent in 2021.
I'm glad you brought those guys up because those three guys make like David Pastrnak right now, his market value is probably about 11.5 million a year.
And what's his salary right now? Go ahead and say it. You mentioned it earlier.
66666. It's funny that he did that. That's Pasternak's personality, by the way. He likes to do like crazy stuff like that.
$6,666,666.
Yeah. So he is way undervalued at that price. Like they are getting such a good value out of him. It's crazy. Overvalued, I mean. They're getting such great value out of him. Marchand is probably about the same. 10 million right now easily. If he were to be a unrestricted free agent, somebody would give him 10 million right now, and he's making 6 million one. These are beautiful contracts. That's the reason why
he's at 6'8".
Yeah, and he's older, 34.
Right.
So I still think he's undervalued. Somebody would give him 9 million right now, easy. He's the best. He's probably the best defensive center of the last decade.
But they got those guys, all three of them, through till the earliest one is 2022.
Unbelievable value. Unbelievable value. So that's the reason why they have all this cap space.
Right.
Now,
that's smart contracts there.
So we ate up a little bit with DeBrusk because we're gonna have to pay him $3 million. They have so much cap space here. If they really like Jake DeBrusk, problem is Jake DeBrusk has been inconsistent so far for what he. Right. By the way, talking about Jake DeBrusk, we were talking about the Islanders. Do you know that they could have had Barzal if they didn't pick Jake DeBrusk?
After this video, I will. Who
In,
they could have had Barzal
in the draft, that draft year, they had 3 first-round picks in a row, and they picked this guy Sinishin. I don't know why they picked him. They picked a defenseman who I always forget his name, but Zaboral, who hasn't played a game in the league yet. And they picked Jake DeBrusk, and Barzal went after those 3. Wow. They could have had Barzal, or Connor, or Kyle Connor in Winnipeg is another one. They haven't made too many mistakes, but I would say that was one. Because they could really use Barzal right now with Krejci, like you mentioned, $7.2 million, going to be a UFA in 2021, and they really don't have any centers to take his spot. But anyways, it's really.
Yeah, let's move on to defense now.
Sure.
Okay. Chara, captain, team captain.
Yes.
What do you think is going to happen with him?
43 years old, unbelievably. Still one of the better defensemen in the league. Guy's a monster. Incredible. Could make a case that he's the best defenseman of the last decade or so. Could definitely top 5 for sure. Most people would say top 3. 43 years old. You probably still got to give him $2 million again. So there's $2 million of it. I'm sure they will, as long as he wants to play, and he sounds like he wants to play till he's at least 45. There's been people have said that he's talked about playing till he's 50.
What do you think the oldest hockey player that's like who's the most like right now actively? Who's the oldest?
He is.
Oh, okay.
Chara is the oldest.
And what do you think the oldest, the limit, like that in history since the NHL?
Oh, okay. That's a good question. That would be my gosh, I can't believe his name.
Like Mario Lemieux or something?
No. Before that, it's Bobby Orr and Gordie Howe.
How long did he play till?
He played till he was 50 years old. Now, this was a different era, but still.
Right.
50 years old. He played with his sons for the Hartford Whalers.
Wow.
And get this.
Turn that down.
He scored 20 goals.
Wow.
At 50
At 50.
Old. Yeah.
That's great.
So they consider him like there's always an argument if it's Howe or Gretzky or maybe Mario Lemieux as the best of all time. And people ask me, I say Bobby Orr because he was the best offensive and defensive player of his generation, just because of that. But you can make an argument for all of them. Yeah, 50 years old and scored 20 goals.
Well, maybe Chara can make it till he's 50.
That would be. I'm rooting for him. So what else do we got here?
We have Matt Grzelcyk.
Okay. Yeah, and this is where we got to talk about the expansion draft.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be a possibility to join that Seattle team when that happens.
Well, you got Torrey Krug, Charlie McAvoy. McAvoy is a stud for them, also making only $5 million. Fantastic. Torrey Krug.
Krug is up too. He's on the list.
He's a UFA. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Matt Grzelcyk, the question is, they could sign him, but they're probably going to lose him. So in the expansion draft, I don't know how they don't lose him, honestly. So I think it's possible they use him to get some draft picks because they really could use some prospects in their system. Their system is not what you call stellar by any stretch of the imagination. And Jeremy Lauzon and Connor Clifton can probably fill that role for now.
And McAvoy and they got the John Moore and who's a Brandon Carlo too, but he's also a possibility to join that Seattle.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. If you trade Grzelcyk, then you're still going to have to put Brandon Carlo out there. That's tough. I think what they would do is they would take the draft pick that they get from Matt Grzelcyk, and they would offer it to Seattle to not pick Brandon Carlo. And that's something you can do in the expansion draft. You can offer draft picks to make your pool smaller for them to pick, so they can pick a different player other than the one they don't want. If they offered a first-round pick to not pick Brandon Carlo, I'm pretty sure Seattle would be happy with that, because prospects are something that they're going to want. And they could still get a decent defenseman, maybe John Moore or something like that.
You think they're going to give Krug a raise?
Yes. 7.5, somewhere around there. 7.5.
Yeah, they have the money, right? Might as well.
Yeah, you might as well. He loves Boston. They love him. He's one of the best puck-moving defensemen in the league.
Yeah.
You let him go, and how are you going to find somebody to replace him? The only thing they could do, I suppose, is let him go and then sign Matt Grzelcyk, because he plays the same type of game, but it's nowhere near as good of a game as Torrey Krug's. And I think if they were going to do that, they would have already let him go, traded him last year. I think they'll sign him. I think they'll get him signed up.
Yeah. But that's it. We got and Kevin Miller, but he's injured, and I don't know if he's going to stay injured. I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah, he's been injured a lot. If he's well now, they'll wish him adieu and say, I hope you have a good career.
See you later.
We don't have anything to really sign. I guess the only thing I'd want to talk about with all that cap space now, they may decide that they'll go, if they can find a center, they may try to grab one now while Krejci, because Krejci's only got another year left and then he's a UFA.
Yeah.
It's possible they may look to try to fill in that role, or they could just re-sign Krejci for less when that comes up.
Well, they also have this Charlie Coyle.
Yeah, Charlie Coyle he's a third liner.
They're paying him $3.2 million. I mean, that's not bad.
Next year it's going to be $5 million.
Yeah. So he probably maybe move up to the second line.
You can try him up there, but he's been tried in that role several times, and he can fill it for a while, but he's not ultimately what you want from that position. He's not what you call a stellar playmaker or a big time scorer. He's more of a really good two-way. He's a classic third line center.
And this last guy, Lindholm, he's fourth line. I'm taking it. Lindholm.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got a lot of skill, actually, but he's pretty soft. Like he's like a guy you put on the power play. You play him in your lower lines because he can score against guys that are a little slower. He adds a little offense into your bottom six, but he's not what I would call a top six. He's just on the cusp of not even being an NHL player, to tell you the honest truth. His skills are barely NHL level.
So stick to like AHL.
The whole package, like he has skills that are NHL level, but the whole package isn't really what I would call NHL level. So he's a good depth guy. They'll play him down in the minors, bring him up. He'll play about half the year to fill in roles when need be, stuff like that. Those guys are important to have.
Chris Wagner.
Chris Wagner's a fourth line guy.
Yeah.
Nice signing. 1.3. He can play third line if necessary, but preferably you want him on your fourth line if you've got a really solid team. I like him. He's fast. He plays hard. He's got the right attitude. He plays the right way. All of those things you hear. You hear like baseball players like that as well. They don't put up huge numbers any one spot, but they play the right way, good in the room, stuff like that. He's definitely that guy. So,
yeah. The only person we didn't mention was Sean Kuraly, and Nick Ritchie too. We didn't mention him either. But everybody else we went through.
Did we talk about Kasha too? Andre Kasha? I don't think
so.
That's
right, Kasha.
Okay. So those three guys, Andre Kasha, they got from Anaheim, and Nick Ritchie as well. They traded a draft pick and Bacchus for those two guys. The reason why is Nick Ritchie was supposed to be a really good player. That's why he's got 1.5 million and he's only 24. But from everybody I'm hearing, everything I hear around the league, he's lazy as hell.
Really?
He got the money and he just, I don't know if he's partier or what it is, but I wouldn't think it was because he's a partier, because Boston will not take partiers on their team.
He's 2 scores and 27 appearances in 27 games.
Yeah, and he's big, but he doesn't play big. So they took a chance on him. And Andre Kasha had a bad year last year, so they took a chance on him. Now, if they can get one of those two guys rolling, then that's really great. That's fantastic. Because Kasha did have a good year the year before that. But last year it wasn't that great. But it wasn't great for anybody in Anaheim last year. Anaheim had a really tough year. So we'll see what happens with those guys.
Who's B. Ritchie? What? Who's this? Do I have outdated stat line?
B. Ritchie? They
Yeah,
got him
who's
from
that?
Dallas. They got him from Dallas. And I don't know if they're related to each other. Maybe that's the reason why they brought him in.
That's who's had the 2 goals in 27 appearances, because Nick Ritchie's only got 1 goal in 7 appearances.
For Boston, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who B. Ritchie. I didn't even know he's not on my depth chart.
Both of these Ritchies are very
Lazy.
Are very much underperforming for what they were projected to be. Both of them were. Maybe they're brothers. I wanted.
Oh, the Ritchies. Those Ritchies.
Let's see, Nick Ritchie. I don't know. Anyways, to put it bluntly, they got a solid team no matter what, and most of it is because of those great 3 contracts.
Yeah, the top 3.
Yeah, Bergeron,
Pasternak, and Marchand.
Yeah. If you look up,
all of them are on DraftKings. All of them are way over 10 grand. Like I was talking about the other day, stars cost 10 grand, and then you get the, average players that are around half that price.
If you can get 3 stars signed up to those type of contracts, okay. And I just looked up Nick Ritchie. Okay, in Anaheim, his first year he got 28 points in 77 games. Then 3 years ago, he got 31 points in 60 games. Then 19 points in 41 games for Anaheim this year. So he never improved. And from what I heard was the reason why is he's got tons of natural skill, but he just doesn't want to put the time in and effort to get to that next level. So, and with the coach that they have there, Dallas Eakins, he just won't stand for that. So that's if Dallas Eakins doesn't like you, it's probably because you're lazy. Because he'll take guys that have less skill, that are hard workers, over the more skills, and so he's got a laziness to him. So if they can get that laziness out of him, they could be really set. But this team is set for a long time with those 3 contracts. If they can go to unrestricted free agency and pull out another player, Boston is set up pretty darn good. Not as good as the Rangers, but they're set up really well. And I think in the summer, they've got so many options. It'll be interesting to see what they do. One thing I think for sure is they'll definitely sign Krug. They'll probably look for a winger or maybe another centerman to add to their lineup. And if they don't, they're still set. Look at their team right now.
Right.
They could win a cup this year, so they don't really need to do much more to their team.
And Chara, you think, is probably going to retire from Boston?
As a Bruin, retire as a Bruin, absolutely.
No. Yeah, so he's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere. No, he's not going anywhere. If he wants to play till he's 50, he may somewhere down the road have to make a decision whether he wants to
go play for the Devils or something.
Yeah, like some team that's like the Devils now or something like that. If he wants to go for it. He may not be able to do that in Boston, but maybe he will. Like nothing ceases to like amaze me about that guy. 6'8", 250
Yeah,
pounds.
6'9", 250.
Yeah,
Big boy.
the guy is enormous. He's mean. He's tough. He's an incredible player in every like. You hear other players talk about him, and they hate playing against him. They hate it. Like if there's one team that is one player that they don't want to play against, it's Chara because he hurts you. Obviously. Yeah. Anyways, boys and girls, I think that's our full 42. We pushed her to.
Nora, you want to say bye?
Yeah, let's do.
Come on, you want to do the?
Want
You
to
want
do
to do
Perlo
the?
dance or you want to
Come
throw
on, do the
pearls?
Perlo dance. You can do it. There you go.
Perlo dance, Perlo dance, Perlo dance, Perlo dance. And I'll throw y'all some pearls too. Have a great day. Lots of love
Thank
to
you.
ya.
Thanks for having me on your show again.
Check out Capper's Companion.
Yeah, there's a couple games coming tomorrow. Some